Let me be straight with you. This isn't your average motivational speech. This isn't another feel-good video you can scroll past and forget. This is a wake-up call. Relentless. And if you actually let it sink in, it could change your entire life. Because everything you've been taught about how to live, it's a lie wrapped in pretty packaging. You were told to chase happiness like it's some prize at the end of the race. To measure your worth by titles, timelines, and trophies. To believe love would fix your broken parts. And that pain was a mistake. But the Stoics knew what most people today have forgotten. Pain is the price of clarity. And adversity, it's not the enemy. It's the entrance. We scroll. We numb. We pretend. All while our souls are quietly screaming beneath the surface. You feel it, don't you? The exhaustion of pretending to be okay. The emptiness behind achievement. The quiet panic that you're running out of time and not really living. We've built our lives on distractions, comforts, and half-truths. And we call it normal. But avoiding discomfort doesn't save you. Starves you. It robs you of the very trials that shape who you're meant to become. Marcus Aurelius once said, "It's not death that a man should fear, but never beginning to live." And let's be honest, most people, they don't live. They exist. They coast. They wait for the fear to pass, the moment to feel right, the stars to align. But the truth? The fear never leaves. The perfect moment never comes. So this, right here, is your moment. To stop waiting. To start confronting the hard, liberating truths that will shake you, break you, and then rebuild you into someone unstoppable. This video isn't here to comfort you. It's here to wake you up. Because the life you want, it doesn't wait. It begins now. Let's get into it. Lesson 1, your comfort zone is your coffin. The world has convinced you that comfort equals happiness. That a soft pillow, a predictable schedule, and a risk-free life is the goal. But comfort kills. It's the silent poison that numbs your ambition. The slow decay of your potential. Growth? It only happens when you're exposed. When you're shivering in the cold of uncertainty. When you're forced to confront the parts of yourself you've spent years avoiding. Ask yourself, when did you grow the most? When life was easy, or when it cracked you open? The Stoics believed in voluntary hardship. Seneca would sleep on the floor to remind himself that comfort was optional, not essential. Epictetus, born into slavery, taught that true power was the ability to command one's own mind. Why? Because they knew, ease creates apathy. Discomfort creates clarity. You've been taught that discomfort is the enemy. That pain means something is wrong. But the Stoics flipped the script. Discomfort is a compass. Pain is a signal that something inside you is ready to grow. Look at nature. Muscle is built by tearing it down. Mountains rise through pressure. Diamonds are formed in fire. The same goes for your character, your strength, your soul. The truth? The life you want is guarded by the pain you're unwilling to feel. Your dreams? They live on the other side of your excuses. Your purpose? It's hiding in the chaos you avoid. Every time you choose comfort over challenge, you shrink. But every time you embrace discomfort, even briefly, you reclaim a piece of your power. You break the spell. You reawaken the warrior inside. So start small, but start now. Take the cold shower. Have the uncomfortable conversation. Say no when you've always said yes. Wake up an hour earlier. Leave the toxic relationship. Apply for the job you think you're not good enough for. Discomfort isn't punishment. It's preparation. It's the weight room of the soul, and every rep builds the version of you that's been buried by comfort. You know why most people never change? Because they want results without resistance. Breakthroughs without breaking. Victory without vulnerability. But that's not how transformation works. And deep down, you know it. Marcus Aurelius said, just that you do the right thing. The rest doesn't matter. Doing the right thing isn't always safe. It's not always profitable. And it's definitely not always comfortable. But it's always worth it. Because on the other side of discomfort is the only thing that matters. Freedom. The freedom to choose. To live deliberately. To be proud of the life you built, not the one handed to you by fear. So here's the question. Are you living, or are you coasting? Because there's a massive difference. And only one of those paths leads to peace. Your comfort zone is your coffin. a beautifully decorated prison, a padded cell with velvet chains. But you were born for more than soft chairs and shallow pleasures. You were built to struggle, to strive, to rise, to become something fierce, clear, and true. So break the pattern, burn the false safety, and step into the storm. Because that storm, it's where you'll find yourself. Your comfort zone is your coffin. Break free and start truly living. Lesson 2. Expectation is the root of misery. You expected them to care. You expected them to apologize. You expected life to reward you for doing the right thing. And yet, silence, rejection, injustice, it stings, doesn't it? But here's the Stoic truth. It's not reality that breaks us. It's the expectations we attach to it. You weren't hurt by what they did. You were hurt because you expected them to be different. Let that sink in. Expectation is a trap we build for ourselves. It looks like hope. It feels like optimism. But more often it becomes a cage. We expect loyalty and feel betrayed. We expect fairness and feel outraged. We expect recognition and feel invisible. The Stoics? They didn't pray for things to go their way. They trained for reality as it is. Marcus Aurelius started each morning by preparing for conflict. Not because he was cynical, because he was clear. He knew that people lie, that egos clash, that days unravel. And so he walked into life armored, not angry but ready. When you live with high expectations, you walk through life constantly offended. But when you let go of expectation, you free yourself to respond, not react. You don't get crushed when someone disappoints you. You don't spiral when life takes a detour. Because you weren't banking on a script. You were anchored in presence. Here's what no one tells you. Most of your suffering doesn't come from reality. It comes from your story about how reality should have been. And that story? It's optional. The Stoics remind us, you control your actions, not the outcomes. You control your mindset, not the circumstances. So what happens when you stop expecting? You stop demanding love and start giving it freely. You stop needing validation and start owning your worth. You stop controlling and start flowing. Think about it. How many times did life not go your way, only to reveal something better? The job you didn't get. The person who walked away. At the time it felt like loss. But looking back, it was redirection, refinement, a hidden gift in disguise. When you expect less, you appreciate more. Suddenly, kindness feels like a miracle. Every yes feels like a blessing. Even pain becomes a teacher, not a punishment. Epictetus said, when you are offended by someone's behavior, turn inward. Look at your own expectations, and you'll stop being angry. It's not about being emotionless. It's about being emotionally sovereign. Not numb, just grounded. Let's bring this into real life. You expected your partner to understand you. They didn't. Instead of lashing out, ask, did I ever communicate clearly? You expected your boss to promote you. They didn't. Instead of spiraling, ask, what can I do with this lesson? Life owes you nothing. And that's not a curse. That's freedom. When you stop expecting the world to behave a certain way, you begin to see it as it is, not as you wish it to be. And from that place of clarity, you can choose wisely, live fully, and love deeply. Let go of the script. Stop needing closure from people who never gave you clarity. Stop hoping for fairness from a world that is beautifully chaotic. Stop expecting people to be versions of themselves that they've never chosen to become. Drop it all. Not because you're giving up, but because you're waking up. Waking up to your power. Waking up to the moment. Waking up to peace. So don't confuse expectation with standards. Keep your standards high, but let your expectations die. Show up for life, not because it will reward you, but because you were born to respond with grace no matter what it brings. When you release expectation, you release the weight that was never yours to carry. You become lighter, freer, more present. And that presence, that's where joy lives. So here's your reminder. Expect less. Appreciate more. Act without attachment. Love without fear. Give without needing. And live without clinging. That's not weakness. That's Stoic power. That's real peace. Lesson 3. Friendships are not forever. Here's a truth that hits harder the older you get. Most friendships, they don't last. And that's not a tragedy. It's reality. People change. You change. The versions of you that used to laugh until midnight might not even recognize the version of you that wakes up at 5 a.m. to chase discipline, growth, and peace. But still, we hold on. Not out of connection, but out of habit. Not out of love, but out of fear. Fear that letting go means betraying the past. Fear that we're doing something wrong when a friendship fades. But listen closely. Letting go of someone who no longer sees you? That's not betrayal. That's growth. The Stoics understood impermanence better than anyone. Seneca said, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you, not people who comfort your stagnation, not people who only love the version of you that stayed small, but people who challenge you to evolve because they're evolving too." Some friendships are lightning bolts. They light you up, burn bright, and fade fast. Others are seasons, here for a reason, not for a lifetime. And that's okay. Stop romanticizing permanence in a world built on change. Think of your relationships like a garden. Some are trees, deep-rooted, lifelong. Others are flowers, brief but beautiful. And some are weeds, once vibrant, now draining your energy. You don't owe anyone forever. You owe yourself alignment. Ask yourself, does this person inspire who I'm becoming? Or do they only reinforce who I used to be? Be honest, because every moment you spend shrinking yourself to fit a past bond is a moment stolen from the life you're building now. It's not heartless to walk away. It's self-respect. If a connection no longer feeds your growth, it's okay to mourn it and move on. Mourning is healthy. Clinging is not. True friendship isn't about history. It's about presence. About meeting each other where you are, not just where you were. And when you let go of what no longer fits, you create space. Space for new bonds, stronger bonds, aligned bonds. Don't confuse nostalgia with compatibility. Just because someone knew you then doesn't mean they know you now. And just because you once walked together doesn't mean you're meant to finish the path side by side. The Stoics didn't resist change. They moved with it. With clarity. With acceptance. So stop labeling every goodbye as a loss. Sometimes it's a graduation. And the diploma? Your growth. You are not above anyone, but you are no longer for everyone. And that distinction? That's wisdom. Build a life so full of purpose, discipline, and love that anyone who can't meet you there simply fades away. Not because you pushed them, but because you refuse to stop rising. And when it hurts, and it will, remember this. Your longest, deepest, and most important relationship is the one you have with yourself. Nurture it, challenge it, protect it, because when you truly have your own back, you'll never fear walking alone. And the people meant to walk beside you, they won't need to be chased. They'll recognize your path and match your pace. Friendships are not forever, but self-respect is, growth is, peace is. Let go, not with bitterness but with grace, and walk on. Lesson 4. Sacrifice is non-negotiable. Here's a brutal truth most people avoid. You can't rise without letting go. You can't grow without giving something up. Everyone wants the reward. No one wants the cost. But the Stoics understood, sacrifice is not optional. It's the toll you pay at the gates of transformation. We say we want peace, but we refuse to give up the chaos. We say we want strength, but we cling to comfort. We say we want clarity, but we drown ourselves in distractions. And that's the problem. We want the new life, but not the death of the one that no longer serves us. Seneca said, "It's not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." So ask yourself, what are you still craving that's keeping you stuck? Approval? Comfort? A life that looks good on the outside but feels empty on the inside? To ascend, you must sacrifice. Not just things, but identities, beliefs, excuses, habits, comfort zones that feel safe but secretly suffocate you. Understand this. Sacrifice isn't loss, it's investment. It's pruning the dead branches so the roots can grow stronger. You want discipline? Sacrifice laziness. You want deep relationships? Sacrifice shallow conversations. You want clarity? Sacrifice noise. You're not stuck because you're weak. You're stuck because you're still holding on to what you know you've outgrown. And if you don't choose your sacrifices, life will choose them for you. Avoid discomfort long enough and you'll sacrifice your dreams. Chase validation and you'll sacrifice your peace. Say yes to everyone and you'll sacrifice yourself. You say you want change, but are you willing to bleed for it? To walk away from what's easy? To be misunderstood? To stand alone in your truth? Because real sacrifice doesn't feel clean. Feels like grief. Grieving the version of you that no longer fits. Grieving the friendships that can't follow you into your future. But inside that grief, there's space. Inside that emptiness, a new beginning. The Stoics didn't cling. They released. They chose simplicity, clarity, virtue. Because they understood, when you hold less, you can carry more. More focus, more strength, more truth. So ask yourself today, what's one thing I need to sacrifice right now to rise? Not tomorrow. Not when I'm ready. No, because the life you want, it comes with a price. Pay it. Because on the other side of sacrifice is power. Not the kind that controls others. The kind that controls you. Quiet power. Real power. The kind that lasts. You can have anything you want, but you can't have everything. And the sooner you accept that, the freer you become. So stop bargaining with your potential. Stop negotiating with your future. Sacrifice isn't punishment. It's the path. The door you're afraid to walk through? It's not locked. It's just guarded by the version of you who's afraid to let go. But if you let go, if you burn the lies, the noise, the comfort, the fear, you'll walk into something stronger, something purer, something yours. Sacrifice is non-negotiable. So stop stalling. Stop waiting. Pay the price. And step into the life that's been waiting for you all along. Lesson 5. Stop chasing love. Let's be real. Most of us aren't actually looking for love. We're looking for validation. We say we want connection, but deep down we're just hoping for permission. Permission to feel worthy, to feel seen, to feel like we matter. But here's the hard truth. The more desperately you chase love, the more likely you are to settle for a version of it that's hollow. The Stoics didn't chase love. They became it. They understood. If you want something meaningful on the outside, you have to be whole on the inside. Because love that's chased, it's anxious, performative, fragile. But love that's built within, that's solid, quiet, unshakable. Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." So ask yourself honestly, when you lie in bed at night, do your thoughts speak love to you? Or do they echo shame, scarcity, and self-doubt? Because if your inner world is chaos, your relationships will be too. If your self-love is conditional, so is the love you accept. But here's where everything shifts. The moment you stop chasing love and start building a life you actually love living, that's when love stops running from you. Stop asking, why doesn't anyone love me? Start asking, am I someone I deeply love being? That's the real work. Because when you chase love, you twist yourself. You become a shapeshifter, saying what they want to hear, doing what they want to see. But love earned through performance is love you'll always fear losing. Because deep down, you know, they're not in love with you. They're in love with the mask. So take it off. Risk being alone. Risk being misunderstood. Risk being fully, unapologetically you. Because real love, the Stoic kind, it doesn't bind you, freeze you. It doesn't complete you. It meets you. It's not desperate. It's deliberate. And it starts with stillness. With sitting in your own presence and not flinching. With walking alone and not feeling lost. With knowing who you are, even when no one's clapping. You are not hard to love. You've just been loving in the wrong direction. Outward. Frantically. Fearfully. Turn inward. Build a life of meaning. Of peace. Of purpose. Let love find you building. Let it meet you on your path. Not pull you off it. Because when you stop chasing love, you make space for the kind that never asks you to shrink, only to rise. Lesson 6. The crowd is usually wrong. If you want to guarantee yourself an average life, just do what everyone else is doing. Think how they think. React how they react. Numb how they numb. But the Stoics understood something most of us forget. Truth doesn't travel in crowds. We live in a world that worships fitting in, but secretly it's addicted to pretending. People follow trends, not principles. They conform, not out of conviction, but out of fear. Fear of standing out. Fear of being different. Fear of being alone. And that fear? It's not harmless. It robs you of clarity. It dulls your potential. It's the slow death of your authenticity. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. The crowd is comfortable, but it's not wise. It's loud, but it's rarely right. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, yet found peace in solitude. Epictetus was born a slave, yet taught kings how to think. Seneca was surrounded by power, yet chose philosophy over politics. They didn't follow the noise. They didn't chase applause. They questioned. They examined. They lived deliberately. Seneca once wrote, "If you live according to nature, you will never be poor. If you live according to opinion, you will never be rich." That hits hard, doesn't it? Because in today's world, opinion is the new religion. Viral equals valuable. Famous equals right. Popular equals true. But think about it. If everyone is doing the same thing, and everyone is anxious, numb, or distracted, then maybe normal isn't something to aspire to. Maybe it's something to escape from. So what do? You stop following the herd sprinting toward the cliff. You stop parroting beliefs you've never challenged. You stop shrinking your truth just to feel like you belong. Because the deepest loneliness isn't being alone. It's being surrounded by people who don't know the real you. You weren't born to blend in. You were built to rise, to question, to carve your own path, not inherit one handed down by fear or habit. But here's the price of that path. You'll be misunderstood. You'll be labeled intense, strange, maybe even threatening. Because change always feels dangerous to people addicted to comfort. And greatness? It never waits for permission. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." So let them laugh. Let them roll their eyes. Let them ask, "Who do you think you are?" Because in time they'll either understand, or they won't. But either way, you'll be living in alignment, not in fear. And that's the difference between performance and peace. Between showing up fully and showing up for approval. So don't be afraid of walking alone. Be afraid of going in circles with the crowd. Be afraid of the comfort that keeps you silent. Be afraid of becoming a version of you that knew better, but stayed quiet. The crowd is usually wrong. And somewhere deep down, you've always known it. So stand up. Even if your voice shakes. Even if you're the only one. Because the right path? It's never crowded. It's courageous. Lesson 7, patience is power. Everybody wants the results. Nobody wants the wait. But the Stoics understood something most people ignore. Slow is smooth. And smooth? That's fast. We live in a world obsessed with the now. Same-day delivery. Instant likes. Overnight success. But real strength? Real transformation? It moves at the pace of patience. You want peace? Plant it and wait. You want wisdom? Earn it, brick by brick. You want mastery? Then train without needing to be seen. The Stoics weren't slow because they lacked ambition. They were patient because they had direction. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "No great thing is created suddenly." He was running an empire under attack when he said that. Because greatness isn't a spark, it's a flame. And that flame? It needs time, discipline, stillness. But let's be real. Patience isn't easy, especially when you're doing everything right and nothing seems to change. You put in the work, you stay consistent, and still it feels like no one notices. That's the moment most people quit. That's the exact moment you can't. Because patience isn't passive, it's active trust. It's standing in silence and saying, "I believe in this. I believe in me." Even if no one else sees it yet. The Stoics knew. You can't rush truth. You can't microwave depth. You can't shortcut strength. You've got to sit in that in-between space. Between the seed and the sprout. Between the effort and the visible result. Be the one who trains without applause. Who shows up even when it's thankless. Who keeps building while everyone else is chasing quick wins. Because while they burn out, You endure. While they chase hype, you build something real. True power isn't found in the rush. It's in the rhythm. It's in waking up, showing up, and doing the work. Not for recognition, but for purpose. So what if it's taking longer than you thought? So what if no one claps for you? The tree doesn't apologize for growing slow. The mountain doesn't rush to rise. And you're becoming unshakable. One rep at a time. One breath. One honest choice. This isn't weakness. This is power. Because patience isn't just about waiting. It's about who you become while you wait. So slow down. Trust the process. Stand still when others are sprinting in circles. In a world that's addicted to speed, your stillness is strength. Your patience, that's power. And you're already becoming the kind of person most people only dream of being. Final lesson, this is your call to rise. You've heard the truths. You've felt the fire. Now comes the hardest part, doing something about it. Because insight without action is just noise. The Stoics didn't live in their heads. They lived by their values. They didn't just talk about virtue. They practiced it every single day. And now, so must you. Not tomorrow. Not when it's easy. Not when the fear goes away. No, because life doesn't wait. And your potential? It's not some distant dream. It's buried beneath the excuses you keep repeating. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You could be good today, but instead you choose tomorrow." How many times have you done that? Postponed your peace, delayed your growth, watched your dreams collect dust, but not anymore. Now is when you stop waiting for a sign and become the sign. Now is when you stop asking, "What if I fail?" and start asking, "What if I don't try?" You don't need more motivation. You need movement. Tiny steps. Small choices. Done with purpose. So, turn off the noise. Sit in the silence. Write down what you know you need to do. And then, do it. Not perfectly. Not loudly. But consistently. Because consistency beats inspiration. Principles beat passion. And truth, your truth, is built one action at a time. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to become someone else. You just need to show up. For you. So start that business. Say what needs to be said. Walk away from what's breaking your soul. Say yes. Say no. Say enough. Because one day there won't be another sunrise. One day your name will be spoken for the last time. And on that day the only question that will matter is, did you live like it meant something? The Stoics didn't promise ease. They promised meaning. And you already have what it takes. So rise. Reclaim your time. Reclaim your peace. Reclaim yourself. You don't need permission. You need a decision. And this, right now, is it. So go. Not just inspired, but transformed. If this spoke to something deep in you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Comment below. What's one thing you'll do today? And most of all, keep showing up. Keep choosing growth. Because peace isn't something you find. It's something you build. And you're building it one choice at a time.